Hey everyone, Killer Sci-Fi Action Movie Reviews here. Today I'm going to be reviewing the top movie you guys voted for in the polls, which only one person voted, so the Goonies win by default. Thank you for being the only one to participate. What are you watching? The movie begins at a jailhouse where an officer sees a hanging inmate who goes by the name Jake Fratelli, played by Robert Debbie. But surprise, he's not dead. He's just a scheme to escape. The rest of his family are waiting outside to help him with his escape. His mother, Mama Fratelli, played by Anna Ramsey, and his brother Francis Fratelli, played by Joe Patilio. The trio get into a car and are chased all throughout town by the police, seeing all the rest of the main characters who are paying no mind, well except for Chunk, played by Jeff Cohen. We then go to the Walsh's house where we meet Mikey, played by Sean Astin, and his brother Brandon, played by Josh Brolin. And Mikey's upset because his family's going to lose the house. But someone knocks at the door and Brandon goes running just to be disappointed because it's only Clark, aka Mouth, played by Corey Feldman. Mouth wants them to spend one more weekend together before the Walshes move away. Then Chunk comes over to tell him this amazing thing he saw, but Mouth won't let him in. Then Mikey sets off this weird contraption to let Chunk in. Chunk tells him what he saw, but none of them believe him, bringing up stuff that was so amazing to him before, like Michael Jackson coming to his house to use the bathroom. Data, played by Jonathan K. Kwan, is the last to arrive, busting through the screen door. Mrs. Wash, played by Mary Ellen Trainor, comes home with a lady named Rosalita, played by Lupe Ontiveros, to help her with chores. They soon leave, and all the kids go up to the attic to see the thing that Mikey's dad has up there. But Mikey doesn't want them to mess with anything, but then sees something in an old mirror and tells Chunk to hold it, then Chunk drops it. Mikey then pulls an old map from the debris, and then the rest of the Goonies come over to come see what it is. The map belongs to an old pirate named One-Eye Willie, which leads to a ship and treasure, and Mikey wants them to go find the old treasure to save the house. But Brandon refuses because he says that their mom told him that he wasn't allowed to leave the house. But then they hear a ring at the doorbell, and they all go out to see who it is, just to see a couple of guys from a country club to ask for Mikey's father's signature. And Brandon tells them that none of their parents are home, and the guys leave. Mikey gets more depressed and really wants to go find the treasure, but Brandon still refuses. Later, Mikey and the others tie Brandon to a chair with his own workout equipment and ride off on their bikes. Mrs. Walsh and Rosalita come home to see Brandon tied up. He then tries to go after them on his bike, but they flattened his tires before they left. So he steals the little girl's bike. The boys find a rock formation that was on the map and go to it. Brandon is halfway down the road that the boys took until he runs into Andy, played by Carrie Green, and Steph, played by Martha Plimpton, who were riding down the road in Troy's car. Troy, played by Steve Anton, takes Brandon's hand and drives him off the road. Later we see the Goonies find an old restaurant shack, and they all believe the treasure is underneath it. So they go to it, but then hear gunshots. They still get closer until Chunk sees the car from the police chase from earlier and tries to tell the others, but they still enter the restaurant, running into Mama Fratelli. They also meet Jake Fratelli, and Mama tells them that they're customers. And Jake tells her to serve them, and the boys just ask for water. Mikey then has to use the bathroom, and Mama tells him to go downstairs and stay to the right. Mikey goes downstairs and hears some weird growl, so he goes to check it out. He then finds a room with Jake chopping vegetables, taunting something. And when Jake leaves, Mikey goes to see what it is, and he sees some weird deformed-looking creature. Mikey then runs back upstairs, scared out of his mind, when he runs into his brother, who has come to take them all home. They all go outside to talk when they see the Fratellis take an oddly big bag to their car and drive off. Mikey wants to go back in there to get the treasure, and then Andy and Steph come out of nowhere to apologize to Brandon for what Troy has done to him. Mikey and the rest took the opportunity to go back to the restaurant and break down the door. The teens go in too to follow them. Then they all hear a weird growl and they enter the basement, and they all see the weird creature. They flee and scream in fear, falling into another room. Mikey then tries to dig through the floor, but the floor is solid concrete. But then Chunk accidentally breaks a water jug, and then the water goes to a tunnel in the fireplace. Data then finds a machine that has hundreds of $50 bills just to find out that they're counterfeit. They also find a news article with the Fratellis listed as wanted. They then find the body of the owner of the restaurant in the freezer. The Fratellis soon come back, and the Goonies all hide in the tunnel except for Chunk, because they make him go take a different route to get the police. Chunk gets out and finds a road and flags down a car and tells him what happened, just to find out it's the Fratellis, and they grab him. They start threatening him, telling him he better lead them to his friends. In the tunnel, the Goonies all find a skeleton of an old treasure hunter who went to get the treasure before. Mikey then finds some candles and a skeleton key and takes them, and Dada goes to set up booby traps. Mikey then finds a rope and tugs on it, setting off a trap. They all make it out safely, and Brandon finds an exit for them to escape. Then the Fratellis find the tunnel that Chunk told them about. The Goonies find a waterfall and tons of coins from a wishing well. The Fratellis find out the balloon that fell out of Chunk's pocket and they take it and then put him with Sloth, played by John Matusak, the deformed creature from earlier. The Fratellis then go down the tunnel. Back to the Goonies, Mikey realizes that they made it much further than the pro treasure hunter and Mikey wants to keep going. Chunk tries to give Sloth a baby Ruth by throwing it to him, but Sloth didn't catch it and he can't reach it, so he breaks the chains and gets it. The Goonies then find a lock and they use the skull key to unlock it, which sets off another trap and sends Data through a hole in the ground. Data was almost impaled but was saved by one of his gadgets. Sloth and Chunk then break out and Chunk calls the police to come find them, and then Chunk and Sloth go down the tunnel to follow the others. The Fratellis soon catch up to them, and the Goonies all have to cross an old log over a river. Data gives the Fratellis a slip by spilling oil all over the log. The Goonies soon find a skeleton piano, which is another booby trap, and if they hit 3 notes wrong, they die, but if they get 3 notes right, a door will open. Andy is the one to play the piano, and she's doing semi-okay. The Fratellis have almost caught up to them, but Andy hits the last note and they escape. Then they all go down a huge waterfall and find One-Eye Willie's ship. They climb aboard to try to find the treasure. They go down to the cannon chamber, and Andy accidentally finds a switch and opens the ceiling to One-Eye Willie's treasure room. Mikey finds the skeleton of Willie, and soon the Goonies take as much treasure as they can take, but left some treasure to pay respect to Willie. The Fratellis catch up to them, though, and force them to give them all their treasure. Mama Fratelli starts throwing them overboard, but then Chunk and Sloth come to save the day. Chunk takes his friends to safety while Sloth fights off his brothers. Mama tries to calm Sloth down, but she accidentally reminds him how she dropped him and he throws her overboard. Mama then climbs back aboard to free Jake and Francis to get the rest of the treasure, but they accidentally set off another booby trap. The Goonies try to get out from a small hole they found, and Data tries to light a candle, which turns out to be dynamite, which they use to blow up the small hole in the wall. Sloth helps him escape, but goes back for his family. The Goonies make it out, and the cops find them, and they all are reunited with their families. The Fratellis escape the cave, but the police arrest them, except for Sloth because the Goonies vouch for him, and Chunk tells him how he's going to live with them. Troy's father from the country club shows up to make Mr. Walsh sign away the deed to his family's home, but Rosalita finds Mikey's marble bag, which is full of jewels. So Mr. Walsh rips up the paper and says that there's going to be no more signing ever again. And the movie ends with everyone on the beach seeing One-Eye Willie's ship sailing away into the distance. And that was the Goonies. And it was actually really good. I mean, there were some parts that kind of annoyed me. I mean, like when all the child actors were talking it simultaneously, it got kind of annoying sometimes. And then Chunk, he annoyed me so much. Always screaming and yelling, "Oh guys, I'm so hungry. When my stomach grumbles, I know something's bad." Or when he heard the gunshots, "Guys, we're gonna die. We're gonna die." Of course you're gonna die if you keep shouting and giving away your position. But overall, it was kind of a fun tale though, and it was something unique, and I didn't realize this before. I knew it was a Steven Spielberg film, but I didn't know he didn't actually direct it. He was the one who actually wrote it. Have you ever noticed, Steven Spielberg's always the one that gave us some of the great movies, like E.T., Ready Player One, Jurassic Park, Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's a godfather, pretty much, to cinema. But if I would have to give this film an actual rating, I would give it probably 4 stars. It was good, but Chunk still annoyed me. But I did love the makeup of Sloth. That was cool. But you can get this movie and see it for yourself by getting on Blu-ray and DVD at Walmart, Vintage Stock, Target, and Best Buy. You can also get it for digital download at Vudu, YouTube, Amazon Prime Video, iTunes, and Google Play Movies and TV. And that's all for this review. Bye everyone. To see more content like this, why don't you subscribe to my channel? And see the latest video, click right there. And to see a playlist of my 50s and 90s music, click right there.